One of the first questions people ask when there's a suicide is, did they leave a note? The majority of people actually don't. But my mom did. I only saw it once, the night she died, and never knew what happened to it after that. 30 years later, I finally asked my dad, who suggested I look through the file folder where he keeps her papers. It was there, folded up in a small, plain white envelope. Since no one other than my father, my sister, and I ever saw the note, I brought it to share during my conversations with the family. The person whose reaction struck me most was my father's brother, Richard.
To my beloved husband and children, I am doing what I am doing. You'll have to read it to me, I'm sorry.
It's her handwriting. No, it's her handwriting.
Very difficult.
Okay, so I'm doing what I am doing to save you, not to punish you or make you feel guilty. Cry over me, bury me, mourn me, and then get on with your healthy lives. It is out of love and not anger that I took this step. All my dearest love, and to those I love, D.A., that's what my dad called her for Deborah Ann, your darling wife, Mom. And then on the back she wrote, I'm in agony, let me go please, let me die, I am desperate, I love you.
Letter's perfect. Excellent letter. You should take it to heart, believe it or not. It's meant for you and Jerry and your sister. I think it's a wonderful letter. I think it's very instructive, very instructive. Okay, that it's not to make you feel guilty, it's to save you. What she means by save you from watching her deteriorate even further. And she's in agony, okay? And you need to say to yourself, how miserable was my mother that she was willing to do such a thing?
Well, but the thing for me, I mean, I do appreciate it, and you know, it obviously confirms everything we all have always thought about why she did it, you know, in terms of
it's a brilliant letter.
It is.
Short and brilliant.
Except for me, as the recipient, it also kind of says, I'm dying so you can have a beautiful life.
And your father did.
And my father did.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I lived up to what she expected my life to be when she died for it.
My point is that she's saying, I want you all to grieve and cry for me and get on with your life. Jerry did, and you're still crying, okay? So does that mean that's the end for you? No, that could be just the beginning. It's all how you reframe it.
Right.
The fact that she checked out, the fact that she didn't tell you, hey, baby, I won't be here next week, that was her mistake.
When I started sharing my loss with other suicide survivors, I realized I had never considered how anyone else in my family dealt with Mom's death. Because no one discussed it, I assumed everyone had simply moved on 30 years ago. I did not think of my sister as someone who had also lost her mother. What do you miss most about her?
Oh, golly. I guess kind of what a force she was. You know, she was always, to me, the June Cleaver of our family. And she just always seemed to have it together, so kind. Putting together the social events and the parties, and just, to me, she was the perfect mother. And I think the thing I miss the most is that at the time she died and the time she got sick, I was finally coming out of my teenage angst. And we had been getting to the point where we were starting to move from that mother-daughter relationship to becoming friends. And that got cut short was, I think, the hardest part. So.
I've always said I failed 19. I got stuck there. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't grow emotionally. I didn't grow, and the life skills, like we haven't lived normal lives. You know, I just sort of assumed life would turn out a certain way,
right,
in terms of the track we were on with the husband, 2 kids, whatever. And it didn't. I mean, do you attribute that at all to her death?
That's really hard to say. I know somebody asked me, well, do you think that's why you never got married, that maybe you have emotional attachment issues? And I said, you know, I don't know. It's possible. But Honestly, there's just no way to tell. And it's not something that I dwell on, because somewhere in an alternate universe, there's an alternate me whose mother didn't die, and who knows what she's doing.
I spent 3 months writing and rewriting a letter to my dad to ask him to talk about my mom. I also worked with a grief counselor to gather the courage to email it. I couldn't imagine us having an intimate conversation, and I was scared of hurting him with the questions I needed answered.
The whole thing was handled very badly from start to finish. You and Leah coming to the funeral and then going back to school was was very ill-advised. It was what your mother wanted. That should have been overruled. I think earlier back, her deteriorating medical condition should have been communicated to the two of you, and I did not overrule her on that. And you know, those were the issues, just handled what in retrospect was wrong.
Was she in charge of what was told and what was not told, or how did those decisions get made?
She made the ultimate decisions. I mean, we discussed it. I didn't just passively say, okay. We talked about the pros and cons, and her viewpoint was she didn't want to do anything to upset your studies, your time in college, and everything would be okay.
But when you guys discussed it, like, did you talk about us as individuals, like saying, well, Ruth might do this, or was it just sort of the package, like, here's the problem, here's the kids, let's come up with an answer?
It was, here's the problem, here's the kids. You were a package with your sister. Yeah. I think when she really reached the end, she no longer thought about that. She was more focused on herself and what the short future would hold. But really, she was given the last word